This is Coffee with God, and I am Father Jose. Let us begin this day with the Word of God and a short reflection.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to St. Luke, chapter 5, verses 33 to 39. The passage is taken from the Message version of the Bible. They asked him, "John's disciples are well known for keeping fasts and saying prayers, also the Pharisees, but you seem to spend most of your time at parties. Why?" Jesus said, "When you're celebrating a wedding, you don't skimp on the cake and wine, you feast. Later, you may need to pull in your belt, but this isn't the time. As long as the bride and groom are with you, you have a good time. When the groom is gone, the fasting can begin. No one throws cold water on a friendly bonfire. This is kingdom come. No one cuts up a fine silk scarf to patch old work clothes. You want fabrics that match. And you don't put wine in old cracked bottles. You get strong, clean bottles for your fresh vintage wine. And no one who has ever tasted fine aged wine prefers unaged wine."
Reflections on the Holy Gospel according to St. Luke chapter 5, verses 33 to 39. Food. What type of food? How is it eaten and when is it eaten? Had often become subjects of litigation. The Jewish leaders accused Jesus of being a glutton. He was accused of eating and drinking with tax collectors and public sinners. In today's Gospel, they raised the issue of fasting. Fasting was seen as a symbol of religious superiority. They regarded those who fasted as holier than the rest. That is why they compared the disciples of Jesus with those of John the Baptist and of the Pharisees. How could Jesus advocate his disciples not to follow the traditions on fasting? The new kingdom that Jesus establishes is expressed in the symbolism of the wedding banquet, where guests are gathered together to celebrate and to share the joyful moments with the groom. It is not a moment to be sad. With the coming of Jesus, the Messiah, all things are new. We cannot be tied to the outdated past that still asks us to be waiting. John the Baptist and his disciples for sure had a reason to fast, because John was anticipating the coming of the Messiah. Fasting was a way of preparation to receive him. The Jews have totally missed the point and demanded a continuation of the past traditions. Jesus wants to clarify with them that the Messiah they have been waiting for is already here. The time of fasting and time of preparation have already passed. Now is the time to cherish every moment that we live in the presence of the Messiah, just as the wedding guests cherish their moments of joy together with the bridegroom. To follow Jesus is to accept him totally, to think like Jesus, to be merciful like him, to feel like Jesus, to know the pains and emotions of people, to love like Jesus, to forgive even those who hate us, who do us harm, and also to suffer like Jesus, willingly laying down our lives for the life of the other. There is nothing called partial belief or partial faith in Jesus. No patchwork is possible where we accept some portions of Jesus while we continue with our old ways of life. St. Paul would demand us to remove our old self completely and put on the new person of Christ. Since the source of joy is Jesus himself, the bridegroom at the wedding, this joy is the fruit of the Spirit. When we sit at the Lord's table and drink the new wine of the new covenant, we overflow with joy to be with this spouse, Jesus, who makes us happy. We are called to be joyful people, people of the resurrection, people of happiness.